Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Let's Play, what's this game called again? No, I'm just kidding. It's not actually Volume 3. Redemption, Postgame, blah, we all know this. Last time we started off the Forest of Pain properly this time, instead of just going in under-leveled, so we just did the first 5 floors of that. And then, I don't know why, I don't even know why I did this or bothered to keep it in, but then we also did, most of the bosses to unlock the Lost Weapon Final Potential, so I think this one we're going to start off doing the last 2 of those, and then we'll go do some more Forest of Pain stuff. So, I don't hate to say it, it's pretty much the same as the last episode, except I think we get a lot more of the Forest of Pain done. And I just want to remind everybody, I'm not showing off, like, all 100 floors or anything like that, and I'm already, like, cutting down to start with, but still, it's like, it's not 100 floors worth of, like, randomly selected battles. I do, basically, 2 of the, extra characters per every 5 floors when you can change your party again, just to, like, kind of show them off a little bit, and after everybody showed off, I think I just, skip right to, it's either the end or close to the end, I'm not sure. You don't really miss too much along the way. Something I do kind of regret not getting on footage, but I was just like playing through this without recording, so oh well. On the 30th floor you fight Cernosis, the boss, the post-game boss from Volume 1, and then either floor 60 or floor 70 you fight the one sin event thing again. So that's something, I guess. But yeah, for now we're taking Yata and Bordeaux, and I know excuse me. I got the hiccups. Perfect time. So I know Yata's not an extra character, but since he came into the party so late in the game, I think we only used him like once. I thought this would be a good time to show him off a little bit too. And then we have Bordeaux. I got Bordeaux leveled up quite a bit. I think after that first post-game episode, what I did was I took Alcade and Bordeaux out to level up on their own. Just because they were like the 2 lowest ones, and I thought it would be I don't know, I just kind of wanted to do it. You'd be surprised, like, the fun part about .hack GU is actually just when you're going into random areas on your own. Just, like, literally random areas, like when you don't get a set of keywords from a forum post, or it's not like some kind of story event you need to go for. Just when you play the game by yourself, it's like, that was when I felt like I was having the most fun with .hack GU, and unfortunately there's no real incentive to do anything like that in here. There isn't too much of an incentive to do it in the original series either, but there are still some more things worth going to random areas for in the original series. Because the Ryo books, well, I don't know, maybe the Ryo books have more of an effect in GU than I thought, because I'm not really... in the Let's Play, I checked for getting prizes and everything like that, but I didn't actually go in-depth into what they actually keep track of, like with monsters defeated and stuff like that, but I do know I regularly check the Ryo books and, or Ryo books. I've always called them Ryo books, and it wasn't until like much later I'm looking at it and it's like, oh, it's spelled like Ryu from Street Fighter. Maybe it's pronounced Ryu, but either way, I check those a lot more often in the original series. Those are where you get like your wallpapers and your movies and your music and everything like that. And since I usually, I don't know, there's more wallpapers that I like in the original series. Like some of them are like rough sketches and production drawings and stuff like that. I mean, they're not all great, but I do like a lot of them. And I love the music in the first one a lot more than in GU too, so it's nice to, like, change my desktop music. I'll change my desktop music a lot more than what I did for this playthrough. In fact, in GU, I usually changed it anyway, but I don't know. I just kind of felt like sticking with the one desktop theme, because, I don't know, I do enjoy it the most. But, the way your weapons get upgraded in, the original series is different too. There isn't like any kind of like alchemy system or anything like that you do in your home base. You find these I think they're called Springs of Mist around in the fields, and depending on the weather type, you'll be able to throw in a piece of a weapon or a piece of armor and you'll have it either increase or decrease. So it's the kind of thing where I think they talk about it in the forums, what does what. I think basically like the sunnier, happier weather gives you an increase to weapons, but then decreases it. And then the opposite is true for armor. But I could be wrong. So, you know, you can just randomly go to fields and like try to do as much as you can there. And there is like a level cap on what you can do depending on what server you're in and what actual spirit comes out of the Spring of Mist. So it's not like it's something you can like abuse, but I don't know, that's what I end up doing. It might be different if I ever do an original series Let's Play. I don't know, because I feel like I have also kind of like sped through this game a lot. But looking at my file times for my last playthrough, I don't know if I really worked too much with some of this extra stuff I'm talking about in GU anyway. And then you also have to gather food for your grunties as well, and, you know, sometimes you might have to go out of your way to find specific food in a random area, too. So that's, like, another thing. There isn't any kind of, like, virtual pet simulator or anything in GU, unfortunately. And everything you really need, you get where you already go. You know, unless you're just, like, skipping battles entirely, I really don't feel like there's any need for you to, like, go to another area for anything at all in .hack GU. In the post-game for the original series, too, and this is something that I really wish was something that was introduced in the first game, you do unlock this quest for, like, an item encyclopedia kind of event where you take items and get them registered, and then you get... I've actually never even completed it. I think the furthest I've gotten was, like, I had 30 items left to get out of, like, 600 and something. I heard it's like a special wallpaper. I don't think it's anything too special, but it is something I would like to do someday, just to say I've done it. But that would require you to go into a lot of other areas, too. And the reason why I wish it came into the first game... Well, one, because I'm pretty sure, actually, in one of the first mails you ever get, it does say the item completion event is temporarily out of service, and then it doesn't actually get back into service until you beat Volume 4. But you have to re-go and redo, like, all these low-level areas again to, like, get, like, the different weapons and items and stuff that you only find in low-level areas. And some of those items only come from data-draining monsters, and you're too high a level to, you know, get that protect break on low-level monsters because you're just killing everything in one shot. You've got to do a certain amount of damage to monsters in order to do data drain in the first place in the original series, so if you're too high a level, you'll just go right past them. I think that's part of the reason why they made two of the bonus characters in the original series such a low level, so they can kind of take care of that, too. Because I was saying earlier, why is Bordeaux such a low level in this? Because, like, I can't really, like, justify any reason why you would have to, like, take her to, like, some other area. And it's not like she's so low a level that it would be back to the beginning, like in the original series. She's, like, in her 80s, you know? For that matter, how did she even get there? Because she's been gone from the world since, the tournament we did with her in the last game, wasn't she? What level was she then? Was she around 80 then? She might have been. For some reason, I was thinking she was more like level 50. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just babbling. I mean, this is just like a talking episode anyway about whatever. You know, speaking of, well, not speaking of. Let's change the subject. Let's talk about the bosses, because we don't really fight too many boss enemies in GU. And you do get a boss every 5th floor in this. But you might notice this is the same one that we fought on floor 5. I think this pattern kind of continues for a while before the bosses change again. Maybe not. Maybe it's the next bosses change too, but you know, there are some boss monsters that we didn't actually fight in the main story that you can unlock by going to random areas. I don't really see much of a point to it, but it's like when I've complained before about how GU doesn't really have a good variety of enemies, so it's like in the Forest of Pain here, when we are actually going through several different bosses, it's like, why don't they just kind of reuse some of the ones we don't get to see? I mean, this is one we haven't seen, but like, You know what I mean? Like, instead of having this one, the same one 2 times in a row, why doesn't just, like, a different one right next to it? I don't know. One shitty thing about bosses when I'm doing this particular video for the purpose of showing off some other characters is that it's so big you don't really get to see other people attack. I mean, you can see Yata over there. I mean, we upgraded Yata's lost weapon all the way last time, so he has like a 100% chance of inflicting confusion on his opponents if they are susceptible to confusion. But yeah, that was Yata and Bordeaux. Man, Yata pisses me off. Did I mention that I think he started the fire at CC Corp? I forget if I was talking about that terminal disc, but like that was something that I think they were really hinting at. Because when they were all set to have the Epitaph users plan go, I think that oh yeah, remember that sword we won from Taihaku? Well, we're a strong enough level to equip it now. So that's what that's about. But yeah, when they had all the Epitaph users like ready to go, and they were gonna start the RA plan or whatever to bring back Aura, then I don't know. The narrator in the terminal disc was saying that it was a bad idea to do it, and Yata was just like, no, it's an excellent idea, and then that's what caused the fire. So I don't know. Is it him? I never actually looked it up. Let me be professional again and look it up. Because they just gave the real life name, but like the description of him fit Yata perfectly. Where's offline? Takumi Hino. That's interesting. Near the end of the GU games, as Masato Indo is fleeing from the law, and I think that's Ovon. Is it Ovon? Yeah, it's Ovon. Was fleeing from the law. Yata appeared anonymously in a Kanto TV interview denouncing CC Corp, revealing that the company was scapegoating Indo for its own wrongdoings. Oh, so I guess Yata's the one that did that. Due to his intervention, charges on his old friend were dropped. Don't exactly know how that worked. He enjoyed playing soccer, but suffered a broken knee in middle school, ending his hopes of going pro. You know, Wise Man did mention he liked soccer in the original series males, I think. But when did it ever say he broke his knee in middle school? Like, this is the kind of shit where it's like, this would have been more interesting in the game here. Like, I don't want to go and read, like, I don't know, a mail about, or not a mail, but what am I trying to say? Like a supplemental material about this. Sorry, there's this picture of a weird looking Yata. Oh, that's just when his like avatar thing glows before doing something. Never mind. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I wish they would have like talked about more in like the games, because there's so much interesting like back lore to dot hack stuff, but it's never in like what you want it to be in. It's all in like some kind of like supplemental material that doesn't have anything to do with anything. You know, it's a shame, because like that's one of the reasons why I like dot hack so much in the first place. Oh, I'm back to the I just closed my window, and hey guys. Aw, this is sweet. It's Kite and Natsume in a party together. So I guess this is the next party we're doing. It's Azure Kite and Natsume, and Natsume liked Kite in the original series, so this is the reason why I like brought them two together. Even though it's not really Kite, it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of bittersweet seeing them like this together. Yeah, so now we'll play around with these guys and see what's happening. Don't expect anything like too spectacular from Azure Kite. Like, he doesn't even have like an immunity to status ailments or anything special like that. He's just literally another Twin Blade character. Like, stat-wise, I don't know, maybe he's better. He has the same weapon you do that he gave you. Like, he never gave it in the first place. And so it has that ability that, like, does 50% damage on critical hits. But I'm trying to get this item from him, but he's not having it. I mean, I'm sure you can do it. I mean, it wouldn't be there in the first place. But look at all these edgy names. Empty Skies, Empty Demon Suit, Empty Eye of Sin. I tried so hard and got so far. Although Eye of Sin is interesting because the final Twin Blade weapon in the original series is called Sin of Hades or something like that. So I don't know. I'd like to believe it's like a reference to that. But Azure Orca and Azure Balmung have it too. And their stats are pretty much identical too, so it's not like one is slightly better at something than the other. I don't know. That's one thing that kind of like, if they ever do another Dot Hack series, like, I would like an option to compare stats and equipment for like all of your recruited party members rather than the one that's just in your main party. Because I would like, I am very curious about like how different characters' stats are compared to each other, but I guess I'm not curious enough to like write them down and everything like that and like compare off screen. I did do that for certain RPGs back in the day. Like I remember one of my Final Fantasy VII playthroughs, because you can like customize your characters to be anything you want in that. I mean, it's not really hard or anything, but I was always curious, like, is like one character particularly more prone to magic than others? Is one more like prone to strength? Stuff like that, just so I can kind of like dedicate like a magic user or something. Because I had this one playthrough where I wanted like each character to be dedicated as a specific like job, because this is after I like started playing more Final Fantasy games that had a job system. Normally when I played 7, I would just, you know, transfer whatever materia I had from one party member to the other, and it's like no big deal. But for this one I was doing that, and I found out something interesting about Tifa. Early in the game, when you don't have a lot of characters, she's actually better with magic. And then after you get more characters, her strength stat is kind of like more focused on. So I don't know if how that like worked specifically. I guess they just made her magic stat go up for like the first like 10 or so levels, and then it kind of balanced out, and then it kind of went to strength. I don't know, because I did all of the like checking and everything without any materia on these characters too, just so I, you know, knew something wasn't being influenced one way or another. I don't think I've ever done that with Dot Hack though, and I wish I would. Like, I remember one of the things that bugged me so much about the original series when I was like really anal about everything was that whenever I finished an area and I came back with armor and weapons, I would literally have all of my party members come into my party like one by one to see if I can upgrade their stuff, and it's like that's such a dumb way to do it, because you should just sell the stuff or keep it in your storage and play with it later, because like you always get like new weapons and armor and stuff pretty frequently when you go into areas. So it's, even if one of your characters is like just really outdated with their equipment, it really wouldn't be too long until you got something better for them. Like that's kind of why I did the same thing in GU, where it's just like I'm really not worrying about equipment too much. And GU in particular, I feel like it matters even less. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it matters just as much. I don't know. The numbers for dealing damage and for receiving damage in GU are so tiny that the only ones I ever really pay attention to are the numbers for when you're doing damage, because I feel like that's the most relevant for me. But like, unless they're like, I don't know. I notice it most when a lot of damage is being done to me, if it's like a multi-hit attack and your HP in the left-hand corner, the bar is like going down really fast. That's the only time I really notice something big like that. The numbers were bigger in the original series too, and they changed size actually depending on how much was done. So like attacks that didn't do too much, they were still small, like big enough to read, because I can barely read these numbers to be honest. But they were still, like, you know, readable. They're small, but, like, if you did, like, significantly more damage, the numbers would become, like, very big. And you'd be able to definitely tell that, yes, you are doing a lot of damage, or yes, you are receiving a lot of damage. Yeah, I don't know why they took some of the cooler, more interesting gameplay elements out of GU. I don't know. When I'm looking around on the forums for like information to tell you guys about during this Let's Play, and I'm just like seeing people like defending GU over the original series like over and over and over, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I was back in the day. I was all into GU. I love GU just as much as the original series. I recognize there were two different, you know, games and two different like styles, but I don't know. Like, the only thing I think GU has over the original games now is just the graphics. It's a very, very great-looking PS2 game. You know, not that the original series is bad or anything, but if someone said it's aged a little bit, I can agree with them. Although, I've seen multiple people say it looks like garbage, and first of all, you know how by now how I feel about, like, you know, people abusing the, like, garbage and trash and everything. Making it sound, like, so elitist and everything, but I don't know. I wouldn't say that at all. Like, the only games that I think, like, that really age horribly in terms of graphics, if I had to, like, pick them, and I'm not saying this as a whole, but I know some games for Nintendo 64 and PS1 don't hold up, like, visually very well. And the DS, like, the original DS, if it's not a sprite game, I mean... I mean, I don't know. I had a DS while it was relevant, but I didn't really have any games for it other than Pokemon Diamond. But just going back to look at some videos online of DS footage and some of the games I picked up after DS was relevant, just like, ugh. Like I got Phantom Hourglass as a Christmas present last year from a friend, and I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would. It had big problems in it, but it was still, like, a much more fun game than I thought it would be. But, like, visually, when they do close-ups of, like, people, it's just like, no. So, like, with that kind of context, when I hear, like, people on forums saying the original .hack games look like trash, I'm like, okay. Alright, sure. Whatever. And I mean, as term as, like, for the anime visuals go, too, like, GU and .hack, the original series, I think are the best with portraying anime characters with a 3D model that's not cell shading. Like, I don't know, it's definitely, like, all anime has its own style to it, too, and I think GU and the original .hack series probably have closest to what I, like, prefer in an anime visual style in terms of, like, you know, facial designs. Some other games just kind of, like, I don't know. Like, I think of Xenosaga, like, right away, because Xenosaga was another trilogy of games that had come out around the time that .hack GU was coming out. Or at least the third game was coming out by the time GU was starting in the US. Each of those three games, you know, I would still call them episodic, but they are more like three separate games than GU is, just because they changed the battle systems a lot, and they changed the visual style a lot. Because the first one I felt like looked like very, very anime. And the second one I felt looked like very, very realistic Japanese. And the third one I kind of feel like struck a balance between the two. But I know in the first game it can be a little awkward because it's more of like the anime eyes are so big and vertical that they come down to like the cheeks, and like the nose is like, I don't know. And then Star Ocean Till the End of Time, I mean, that's a great game, but I mean, I was watching some gameplay of it not too long ago, and I'm like thinking to myself, I don't know, not all of the characters had a particular anime style I cared for, or at least the model wasn't really greatly reflecting it. I don't know. Like, when it comes to anime and cartoons in general, when you're doing it like that kind of style in video games, I kind of feel like cel shading is the way to go, because it keeps the cartoony feel for it, and it also makes it you're able to do it in like a 3D model. Because I don't know, sometimes like with some of the earlier maybe not earlier, but like the PS2 and GameCube era games that try to go for like an anime style, I don't feel like always like work too out. Like there was this game for the GameCube called Evolution Worlds that was one of the few RPGs for that, and it was actually like a compilation of 2 of the Evolution games from Dreamcast, and that is a game that I don't think has a very good looking anime visual style to it. I don't know though. That's just me. I mean, it's not like something I actively think about and be like, man, this is trash and garbage. I'm such an elitist gamer that will definitely throw everything away in the trash because it's literally trash. I'm not gonna take my game and throw it into the garbage. Like, that's what I think about when I hear all these people saying, like, this is trash, this is garbage. It's just, I feel like it's like the new Epic. Like, remember when people were, like, saying Epic is getting so overused that it's kind of losing all of its meaning? Like, every time I hear somebody say, this is trash and this is garbage, that's kind of how I feel about it, too. Where it's like, is it really? Is it so bad you would literally take this and throw it into the garbage can? Like, I don't want to be so literal about it, but, like, I don't know. I think bad is a word that kind of sums up how you're feeling well enough. You don't have to, like... I don't know. It just pisses me off sometimes, the way people complain about shit on the internet. But that was Kite and Natsume. And now we're gonna take them out. We're gonna do Balmung and Orca. You know, I thought it was just fitting to have Balmung and Orca together because, you know, they were introduced together and, you know, originally they were part of the same team. I think it's so funny that their job class is, like, hidden behind question mark, question mark, question mark. Even though it's, like, very obvious that they're Blade Brandiers. And, like, how Kite was question mark, question mark, question mark. But he was a twin blade. Like, I don't know. If they're gonna go so far to doing callbacks to the old characters, I mean, they may as well. What I thought would have been really cool, and I know, it's too much effort to do for, you know, what it is here, but I think it would have been really cool if Kite was called a twin blade like normal, and then Azure Orca and Balmung were called Blade Masters, because that was what the Blade Brandier class was called in the original series. And then they had some of the moves from the old games too on top of them, because they do those callbacks when you're fighting Kite. It's so weird calling him Kite now, because I've been calling him Triad for the entire Let's Play, but because they do what was it, when you fought him as the Azure Flame God, he had the Azure Tiger Claws, didn't he? And Tiger Claws was one of your basic Twin Blade moves, and I don't think it was called anything, but when you fought him in this volume, it was Staccato, basically. Staccato is definitely, like, one of my favorite moves in a video game. It's not flashy at all, but, like, it's just so satisfying to use in the original series. Just, like, how many times it hits. And, like, there's, like, this great rhythm to it, and that's why it's called Staccato. It, like, became one of my favorite words once I found out what it meant. So, yeah, Orca and Balmung, they don't have anything to say either. They have some of these books, so I'm not even gonna bother with it. I know I've mentioned it before, but I really like Azure Balmung's character design in particular. I really like how his, like, wings are clipped, and you can kind of, like, see these, like... I view them as, like, the bones in a wing, if wings even have bones. I don't know if there's, like... There's probably a better term for it, but I'm not an aviary expert, so I couldn't really tell you. So I just like that. It's like he's fallen from grace, and he's become this, like, warped, twisted version of his former self. Orca pretty much looks the same. He's got, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to be, like, black paint or just, like, himself shadowed out. But that's, like, really the only thing I've really noticed too much of a difference with Orca. I mean, he doesn't have his irises, but his character design is more or less the same. I think the little decoration on his shoulder is different. But that's about it. But anyway, they're both Blade Brandiers. You know, one weird thing about the Azure Knights, like, all of them make that annoying hiss sound that they make in the story. But when they're doing attacks, Kite just kind of, like, makes some grunts, but Azure Orca and Balmung actually like say the names of their attacks, and I'm pretty sure they have the same voice actors as they originally did in the original series. So it's like, why do they get to talk but not Kite? It's weird. I don't know. I know Kite's voice actress was very old. I hope she didn't die. All this talk about like voice actresses dying. Well, I don't know how much they really did. I know Bulma's Japanese voice actress just died recently. I'm not really too familiar with that, but I know how, you know, iconic Dragon Ball is, especially in Japan, so, you know, I'm sure that's quite a blow. Really sucks. Just another shitty thing about 2017, I guess. I'm so glad it's finally over. Or almost over, I guess, I should say. And I don't know about you guys, I am very ready for a new year and a fresh start on things. Yes, Balmung or Orca. It's so annoying. Like, I hate that sound they made. I liked it better when, like, they were just, like, intimidating figures that didn't speak. But when they do, like, the hissing thing, it just kind of makes them seem like, I don't know, just like mindless monsters. Oh, man. Devil's Sword, Devil's Sword. So, I don't think you can actually change any of the equipment on Azure Orca or Balmung. I think they're, like, if you try to, they just, like, say the ellipses and you can't do much with it, in case you were wondering. I was just noticing Orca's sword and how it looked, and I'm like, I wonder what he looks like with another sword. And it's like, oh, that's right, you can't do that. And you have your twin blade weapons out that were kites, so it's like, I'm your master now. I don't know. I just don't like how they look with sleeveless sweater Haseo. Like, they definitely would have been a lot cooler looking if they were in his Terror of Death form. I don't know how I feel about Ghost Falcon either. I mean, I haven't really brought much attention to it, but I did learn a bunch of new skills off screen between, like, the first post-game and the second post-game. And I got Haseo's and a few other characters' final arts forms. And the Twin Blade final art is Ghost Falcon. And I mean, it's a good move, don't get me wrong. I don't know. You're not really doing anything with your Twin Blades when you use it. Like, look at this. You, like, knock them up in the air and kick them with your feet. And, like, I don't know, just a bunch of energy comes out of you, it looks like. It doesn't look like you're hitting them with your Twin Blades at all. And that's just kind of like, eh. Like, that's why Whirlwind is my favorite Twin Blade move. It's not the most powerful, but, like, it is still a strong move. And, like, you feel that impact with each of the 6 hits you give somebody. And, like, you don't do that at all with the Twin Blades. I mean, we got the level 3 art for the Broadsword, too, that we'll use in a minute, too. And it's cool looking, but, like, it just doesn't feel like it hits as hard as some of the other moves. Like, I like Devil's Sword a lot more, because I still kind of like... It looks more like energy hitting it, but, like, I get what they're trying to go for, where they're just, like, doing, like, a bunch of fast sword moves at once. So since they're, like, so fast, I feel like it doesn't have to, like, hit so hard, you know? I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking too much about it, but... I like in a video game, like, when your attacks feel like they're actually doing something. Like, when you're doing normal attacks in GU, it feels great. The sounds are so satisfying to me. Oh, maybe we don't have the final one yet, because I'm still using Shellbreaker. Well, I guess we'll see that later. So, like, I don't know, like, I remember the sound effects changed from Volume 1 to 2, and I wasn't as big of a fan at the time of how they sounded, but I think I warmed up to them. Just, like the impact of an attack just, like, can make, like, such a difference for, like, how, like, satisfying something feels. Like, I think that's why I, like, prefer, like, that move Staccato in the original Dot Hack series so much, because, like, there's, like, this satisfying, like, sound for, like, all of those attacks you do in that attack. I mean, all of it in the original series, really. Original series has some great sound effects, especially for the magic, too. Like, I'm still so disappointed magic doesn't play nearly as important or critical of a role in GU as it does in the original series, because some of those magic spells were so fun to use. Like, they weren't flashy or anything until you got to, like level 3 magic spells, but, like, damn, they were... Some of them were just so satisfying to just watch and do. Like I said, they're not flashy though. That's like the only thing, and that's why I'm like thinking like if GU wasn't like proof of it already, then the original series doing a let's play of that I feel like would just be very boring to watch. It's definitely the kind of game that's like better to play on your own and like enjoy over a period of time rather than watching somebody else play it, because of like the repetitive nature of it. But, like, since there's more variety in, like, dungeons and enemies and weapons and pretty much everything in the original series, like, as a dungeon crawling game, I just feel like it's a lot more fun. But, I mean, jeez, I gotta stop talking about how much I prefer the original series over GU. God, even I'm getting annoyed by it now. Jeez. This video was long. This video was very long. I didn't really know a good place to stop it. Not all of them are going to be this long. I really did try to like keep them around a half an hour, and I think the very last one is only like 20 minutes. But, yeah, I don't know. I really didn't want to have too many post-game parts because I felt like there was a lot to the post-game, but not all of it, and should I just say not most of it was necessary to see, so I wanted to keep as few videos as possible. I wanted to do 5 originally, but I ended up doing 6. So I just kind of figured the better trade-off was maybe a longer videos for that, because I don't know, I felt like maybe if people were seeing just how many parts were in the post-game and they realized how little was in it, they were just going to be like, well, I'm not even going to finish watching it then. And it's fine if you don't. I mean, like I said, the post-game is just post-game stuff. There's nothing, like, critical to the story or anything. But if you are interested in Dot Hack and you've never played GU before, it might be fun to see, like, for example, Tri-Edge and Balmung and Orca and Natsume in a party together. Because that may not be something you were aware of for whatever you've heard of Dot Hack GU. Or maybe you have just wanted to see them again after you played GU, like, who knows how long ago. And you don't have, like, your save file anymore, or you sold the games. I don't know. I don't know how you guys do things. Everybody does things differently. I'm not really a big fan of selling games, because I never know if I'm ever going to want to revisit it in the future. Or now that YouTube's so prevalent, like, maybe something interesting or fun to do for a video. I don't know. Not saying I'm getting back into YouTube or anything. For the moment, I just had intended to do the Dot Hack GU Let's Play, and that's it. But I don't know. I did, despite my complaining about wishing this was over, despite like feeling like frustrated that I just want to like finish this Let's Play up already. Like, I did have fun actually making the Let's Play. Just GU in particular, it's such a long experience. I'd rather just do something else, and so much of GU is just like the same thing too, you know? If I am going to do a Let's Play again, I feel like I may as well do something Sonic related, since, you know, all the Sonic references I've made in the Let's Play for GU. I don't know if I would do a Shadow the Hedgehog Let's Play. I'm not familiar enough with Shadow the Hedgehog to really feel comfortable with that. Sonic Adventure 2, maybe. Because I love Sonic Adventure 2. And... oh, man. The criticisms against Sonic Adventure 2 feel weaker and weaker as time goes on. So, I wouldn't mind doing some kind of trolley Let's Play where I complain about how Knuckles levels are 20 minutes long every single time I do a Knuckles level, but I finish it in like a few minutes because Knuckles levels aren't 20 minutes long, and I don't know why people complain about that. Like, I don't know, and then there's the argument, it's like, well, your first time through it might take 20 minutes, and it's like, okay, but, like, it's a platformer. Are you just gonna play it once? I don't know. I play platformers over and over and over again. Like, the whole point is replayability, but whatever. We're at the end of the video. Bye, guys. See you for part 4.